Hi, finally made it to live stream. I missed Fridays. I've had a bit of a flu just for the past week actually, but I'm feeling pretty good today. Hi, Rept32 Maniac. I don't know if I say that right. I apologise if I don't. But welcome to the stream today. And yes, I have Lily, who has finally decided that she is, it's pronounced Reptomaniac. Thank you. Reptomaniac. Oh, it's a backward E. Got it. And hi to Jason Copendrea. Hi. Hazel, nice to see you here. Love you too, sweetie. Oh, Florida Diver. Hi. I've actually just found out from Florida Diver that his wife is an Aussie and literally lived and grew up 20 minutes down the road from where I live. I'll try and keep Lily here with us today. She's a little bit dark at the moment because she's obviously coming into shed. So, but thanks, Hazel. Thank you very much. Well, I know Lily does. That's for sure. Even if she is going, yeah. Lily is a gorgeous girl, except Lily is my fussy girl. Very social snake, very easygoing snake in that way. But she doesn't like change, and changing those enclosures for Lily was not what she appreciated. You shook it. You could look after any time. Get a baby snake in 2 weeks, and I wonder how long I'd let him adjust in the setup before I handle him when I bring him home. You know, people say bring them home and give them hi day and night. Hello, my friend. A friend you are to me too. People say give them a good week to settle in. Now, for me personally, that depends on your snake. You know, some do need that period of time to settle in, and others are just so outgoing, they don't care. If it's a baby, for me, it's every other day letting it know that you're there, and even if it's only for a brief moment. But if this little one is just hiding away and staying in its hide, give it a week. Let it have a feed. Give it a couple of days after that feed, and then start getting it out. And I would do that every other day. There is plenty of time for you to have that time with your snake when it's begging to come out. So go by the snake and the feeling that you actually get from the snake itself. That's what I do. Absolutely. My little Layla, who unfortunately didn't survive, wanted to come out all of the time. The moment I opened up her lid, she was up there and climbing onto me. If your little guy does that, get it out. Absolutely get it out. And I'm sorry for that. I didn't put any lights on today, so I only have the window light going on here at the moment. So I hope it's okay. You're welcome, Reptomaniac. I really want you to look and get to know your snake and make that judgment call. Yeah, Day and Night did sub to me, Hazel, which was wonderful, and has left some amazing comments as well after watching my videos. So I've also taken a look at the videos from him as well. loves his cat, absolutely loves his cat. Now, I was going to talk about your favourites. Oh, Jason, I have a 6-month-old jungle. Should I feed him weekly? Absolutely feed him weekly. He's growing, and that is what he's going to do really pretty much for the first year of his life is grow. And all he wants to do is eat. So yes, weekly, definitely. I would say at around the 1.5, you could pace that out because you're getting into the bigger feeders with boas. I can't have boas at all here in Australia. I would, absolutely. I think they are absolutely gorgeous snakes. And I would have one in a split second. Have I got experience personally with them? No. Do I know things about them? Yes. I have done research on every possible species that I can when it comes to a snake, but I don't have one. So here I go. Of course, my favourite species are my carpet pythons. And that doesn't matter whether it's a jungle, a coastal, my Bredli, my Darwin. We just bought 2 new boas, and one of them is very eager eater, and I watch a YouTube video. Somebody said to only feed them after they poop because people tend to overfeed boas. Is that true? Hi Carolyn, Florida diver's wife. Welcome to the live stream today. You know, Hazel, they are very slow to digest their food. Absolutely, very slow. And I am kind of somebody that does like to see them eat, then poop that particular feed out before I feed them again. But he will eat every 40 days, even when he isn't shedding. He will eat whenever you put food in front of his face. Said that they are nothing like a python and they cannot digest. No, they're slower at digesting that their food, and they take such large meals. No, they can take really large meals if you feed them that. That doesn't mean it's right. I'd be between carpet pythons and blood python. My favourite, I really like rainbow boas, green tree pythons and Boland's pythons. All beautiful. Absolutely. So you've got quite a few, but it's a toss-up between carpets and bloods. Yeah, I can understand that. But Hazel, they do take a lot longer to digest. And I do know people that will allow their boas to get a couple of meals in, but then they'll wait for them to then get rid of those 2. So I would do that if the need be, but it doesn't mean that you have to feed them big feeders. Eventually, they're going to eat big. They end up being a big snake. So a couple of weeks and it's a blood. Cool. You have an amazing amount of different species over there that you can have. I mean, my favourites are carpets, but what I would really love to have is a retic. Honestly, if I could have one, I would have one. And that's not because of their size or how big they are. That is just what I see in their personalities, which is what I see in my carpet pythons, is those massive personalities. More than I see in, say, Maya. You know, she does have her own little personality, but for some reason these guys just pop with personality. They are so curious, and so are all snakes. But somehow carpet pythons have this ability to work it out. 18-foot retic for my birthday. Ah, you're so lucky. He's a and loves to bite, but I heard over time they'll calm down. They do. They do calm down, Hazel. Work with it, and it will happen. My first beginning of summer, she's gorgeous. Dreads. Oh, that's great. That's really great. Rhino rats, also known as Vietnamese longnose. Yes, that's what I mean. You guys can just get so many different snakes, and I mean unique ones. Not just what everybody else has, but you can get some. You can import them and get them from all over the place except here. I went to a reptile store and I've handled the specific snake. I have an 18-foot reticulated. He's yellow and white. I've seen him, Hazel. He is beautiful. And they are, seriously, considering a rhino rat so interesting and beautiful. Yeah, they are. I love hognoses as well. Have you ever had a blue tongue skid? I've heard they have a lot of... Yes, I actually did have a blue tongue when my young boys were growing up, and we loved him and had him for many, many years. Often used to bite my little boy's thumb, and he'd come in with it hanging off his thumb, but yeah, great little lizards to have, and so easy. Olive pythons are beautiful and probably one of my favourites. That's Bronte Sperling. And no, Hazel, I'm not allowed to have retics or ball pythons where I live. Olive pythons are beautiful, and it's even better if you really get one that is easygoing. A lot aren't, and it does. And I keep on saying it takes a lot of work and time that you put in with them. I just do know they're a little bit more temperamental to other snakes. No, I've not had no experience with green trees. I think they would be wonderful to actually have one, and I've not crossed that off my list, and that may be on my list to have, because I do know somebody that breeds them, and I have been talking to him actually about it, so you never know, I may. Good on you, Hazel. Subbing, it's really great to support everybody out there with their channel. I think it's wonderful that we can do that for everybody. They do have a bad rep, and not all of them have that crappy attitude. They honestly don't. And it's like anything, you spend the time with them, get them to trust you, you won't have a problem with them. I think when a lot of people get them and they're mature, and we all know around that 2 years of age, attitudes can change a little bit in snakes. By 3 years of age, they're looking to breed, and they can get a little bit funny. And green trees are no exception to that. It's completely calm. Yes, they are. Some are not calm. What do you want to do, Lil? She really wants to go to her hangout spot and chill. That's my Lily. You know, she has no problem with me handling her either, but she's rather spoilt and she gets to do what Lily wants to do. That's the problem in my home. I've given my snakes so much freedom to do as they want. I don't restrict them, and just continually handling. I was a green tree. I think everybody would love to have a green tree because they are really beauty snakes. That is what they are. And but that doesn't mean that you can't handle them just because they're beautiful at all. They do take a little bit of extra care, and their setup has to be pretty dead on to keep them nice and healthy. Amazon tree boa, emerald tree boa, and raise them all up as babies. Do that. Why not? I have seen some really beautiful, placid, easygoing green trees. Can't really hold any of your snakes. They all are hungry today. Lily, I'm sure, is hungry. Herself, she hasn't eaten since I put her in that big enclosure, and it's been over 8 weeks for Lily, hasn't it? And I'm offering her every week. She just continues to turn her nose up at me at the moment. But when she's hungry, I say they will eat, especially at this age. Unless, of course, there's a health issue. And I know there isn't a health issue for Lily at all. I just know she's my one fussy girl. So I've pretty much given you an idea of my favourite, and you have all been wonderful in sharing yours. Yes, they do a very fragile skeleton as babies, so it is, for me, it would be allowing them to climb out onto a hook. I can't decide. Emerald, green tree boa, amethyst, oh yes, carpets, retics, boas. So you want to do a myth buster, go for it. Absolutely. A little more expensive to get or to buy them, and a little bit more expensive in their setup, but well worth it in the end. So I guess from the previous graph DP, we all have lots of favourites. When it comes to our snakes, there's so many to choose from, and we are so lucky. For almost 3 months, and when I found him, he drank water out of my hand. Oh, he was thirsty. Obviously, he was so thirsty, Hazel. I mean, Jax drinks from me out of a straw, well, a pipette, which I love. I love that. It just shows that bond and that trust. I've been, very much criticised on how I care for my snakes over the years, and especially lately, because I speak my mind, and that's because of who I am, and I believe in what I believe in. But, I do know all my snakes are very happy, healthy snakes, and that's all that really matters. Hi, Munson Burner. Welcome. I do know that is what is the most important for me, and not what other people say negatively to me. You're welcome. So, I really wanted this to be a very light live stream. Yes, I actually have just started watching some of her videos, and I'm going to be watching some more. I'm hopeless of actually getting onto YouTube. I am not one to be sitting on the internet. Thanks, Florida Diver. I really do appreciate that support. That is really what it is, isn't it? About supporting one another. But it's been morally okay. Morals. That's all. Have putting multiple pythons together in one cage. I've got a personal opinion from He talks to me on Instagram and he keeps his pythons together. And I also, okay, do you think that some snakes are more intelligent? Yeah. Sorry guys, a call comes through, it disconnects, and I get switched off. Sorry, but I'm back. It is, yes, you can keep snakes together, Hazel. I don't say to anybody, do not keep your snakes together. What I say to people is, be experienced enough to know when something is not right within the community of snakes that you do have together. You certainly would not keep two males together over the breeding season. And Lily's gone back into her enclosure, if you can see over here. She's probably got snooty on me because I didn't let her go to the hangout spot, so I hope you don't mind Lily taking off on me. I have nothing against anybody keeping snakes together. I have done it with Jack and my Lacey, and she started bullying him. All my snakes, they really seem to bond with it. Hey, yeah. Look, I let my snakes be out together. I let Jack go into Lily's enclosure and Lily go into Jack's. I had Jessie and Lily outside together all over each other yesterday and so on. I have nothing against housing snakes together. Be vigilant. Watch the behaviour. Do not feed them in the same enclosure together. You are going to have to take them out and feed them individually. That's when things can go wrong. Two males together during breeding season, things can go wrong. I've even known females to kill the male. It's all about using your smarts. And if you do that, no problem. Especially if you've got them as babies and brought them up together and they've been together. Lily hasn't gone all the way in. She's half in, half out. If you might be able to see her. I don't feed any of my snakes. I don't think it's a good idea to feed them from their enclosure because my kids like to stick their hands in. I think everybody has a difference of opinion on that, Hazel. I personally feed all my snakes inside of their home. That's their home. That is where they're most comfortable. But I guess if you have done that from the word go with your snakes, that is something they've gotten used to. That's their routine and they're comfortable with it. I don't do it myself personally. I don't have an issue. I let my snakes know that it's me and it's not me going to feed them. And they know. They pick up on that really fast. Of course, that first 24 hours after giving them a feed, I'm even more cautious because they're still in that feed responsive mode. So I just let them know. But I started feeding and my snakes seem to prefer it. So what works for each snake? Absolutely, it is. And what works for you? You wouldn't be an idiot and feed a snake and then a few hours later go in and put your hand in because they're still thinking feed. Even up to 48 hours, my Jack is, oh, you're going to give me another rat. And I have to let him know, no rat. And I can either do that with a hook, which I don't really need to. Once I sort of talk to Jack and let him know it's me and go in, he realises I'm not food and he chills. So Jack, of course, is an incredibly chilled snake as a coastal carpet python, which I love. I love the coastals. I love my jungles. I love my coastals. So it's wonderful to find out people's likes, and it always stinks how much people shame each other about the way they keep their snakes. And you're right. That's from reptomaniac. It's not about shaming. I fed my snakes from their enclosures on one day, but I didn't. It's okay. It's okay. Hazel, out of their permit, they feed so much better when I feed them in. I would agree that I'm just checking, Lily, that they would. That's their home. That's where they feel safe and they feel comfortable. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll have seen that Lily will eat out here in this room because she's as comfortable out of her enclosure from day one, yeah. I know what you're saying, Hazel. Yeah, my Lily will and is comfortable, but she makes that choice. I don't bring her out to feed her. Find out when your patient needs to defecate. How do you find that out? When your snake needs to defecate. Okay. I'll try and answer that as best I can. What you will notice more often than not is a fairly big bulge down near their cloaca. It will be quite swollen to normal. And how I gauge is a snake, and depending on the species, because as we know, boas take a lot longer to digest. Carpets are quite fast actually. And of course, the bigger the feeder, the longer it can take them to digest. But a rule of thumb, they eat, it takes them a couple of days to digest, and then it takes it a few more days for it to move through the system. And I will find anywhere from the 5th day to the 7th day, they will generally be starting to need to go to the toilet. And sometimes they will urate first, and then you pretty much know the next day they will need to do the rest. And how I do it is I always get my snakes out around those times. I'm a little bit more hyped up than when I do my live streams. I do it for my kids. I know you do, Hazel. You are bubbly. You are so bubbly. And that's what I love about your live stream, is you get bopping and really have some great fun with you and your family. And that's what I love about your live streams. And if I am the one that is calm and has that calming effect, I guess that's me and and my personality. Sure, I can have fun. I laugh. I smile. I love to bop with your videos, your live streams, but I'm generally a pretty laid-back individual, and it's just who I am. But yeah, as for going to the toilet, take them outside. Lily's gone all the way back in. But take them outside. It kind of stimulates them to actually. I'm glad I can give some of that to you, Hazel, if you need it or want it. I tend to do that to everybody that comes here. They sit on my couch and I'm chatting away, and I look over and they've fallen asleep. So I let them have a nap, and then they wake up and they apologise, and I think, I must have been boring you, and they go, no, it's just the whole atmosphere and vibe that they get when they're in my home, and I love that. I love that about my home, is that is what I want people to feel comfortable, and that's what I've done with my snakes, and that's how I care for my snakes. And not everybody is going to agree with that. Everybody does have their different beliefs on how to care for snakes. I will only kick up a stink if I see something that I feel is detrimental to the care of that snake, and only then. I may put my foot in my mouth at times, but it's never for anything other than for the snakes. Not me. It's just about the snakes. And when I change my ethics and morals, which I never will, then I'll never do another video again. If I can't say it, you can, Hazel, ask a random question. That's what live streams are about as well. Random questions. And they're good. They're absolutely good. But yes, if I ever start kowtowing to the majority, I'm in trouble. What is my favourite food and what is your favourite lizard? Favourite food? Gee. Healthy stuff, Hazel. I'm really healthy in my eating. But what do I really love? Is rubbish. And I can't resist a jam-filled donut. I just can't. I go into a bakery, pizza rules, and yet everybody loves pizza. I do homemade pizza, and I will eat them, but I won't buy them from a shop. I do buy them from a shop at times when I'm feeling a bit lazy, but I won't personally eat them. But my favourite food is a jam-filled donut. So what is everybody else's out there? So I do sound like you, he says. No, her voice is soothing. Guess I have more of a fishwife Aussie accent, Carolyn. Maybe you do. I don't know. You still speak like me, but not as soothing. I don't like pizza. I ate it too much as a child, but my kids love it. My favourite is a nice loaded baked potato with salad, lots of avocado. Do you know I just cooked that the other night, Hazel? Because I like it myself. Definitely. Yeah, loaded potato, and I love pineapple on it. Cheese. All of that good stuff. Yeah. It's getting lunch. Well, no, it's not. It's 11 o'clock. But it's getting close to lunchtime. Lasagna. Yes, lasagna's good too. I do make lasagna, and I do actually eat it, and I love it with my herb garlic bread. And I just dip the bread in the lasagna and eat it. I wouldn't say lasagna's really healthy, but it's not the worst that you could eat in your life. Garlic bread. And if you make it yourself, you can make it so garlicky and buttery that it isn't healthy. Here I am saying I eat healthy and I don't coffee flavoured ice cream. I can't eat coffee. I eat coffee. Who eats coffee? Drink coffee. I used to drink it, but I've kind of went off it. I was unwell for a while and I stopped drinking it, and then I went to the tea, and I find tea refreshing and thirst quenching. Actually, a cup of tea is. So I've kind of stuck on the tea right now. I have, and do you drink green tea? But I like coffee flavoured. I see it's the coffee flavour that sort of made my stomach turn when I smelt it. So tasting it, I don't know, I didn't bother because I wasn't feeling well. And as that happened, I mean, I know for some people, they get sick and can't stop calls coming in, and I've got quite a few coming in at the moment, people wanting to talk to me. Yeah, you get sick and all of a sudden something that you loved, you just don't anymore. That's happened to me. Oh, I've never actually tried Russian tea. I I've had Japanese green tea, and I love that. And I love making tea in a pot as well. I think it just makes, and it's got to be a china teapot, and it's got to sometimes be in that china teacup to get that nice cup of tea. So fussy sometimes, sometimes not. I just grab a tea bag. So I'm pretty easygoing, actually, with most things in my life, except when it's a passion for snakes. Small enclosures for snakes. When I see these small cages, I think it's not good for them. This is from Graph DP, but a lot of people think they're okay. Small enclosures for small snakes. Yeah. Bigger enclosures for your bigger snakes. And I'm not talking that it has to be, you know, I've got Lily sitting in a 600 iced tea mix and orange juice. Wow. That sounds good too. In a 600 by 600 by 18 or 1600 by length, or 1800, I'm not sure. She doesn't need all that space. She'd probably be continuing to be happy in a 500 by 500 by 1200. It's up to you. But snakes need to be able to spread out at least 2/3 of their body length. And if you can give them that space, then you know it's all good. I know people say that snakes prefer small spaces and are more comfortable. That might be so for ball pythons, who are a bit more shyer and timid, but not for carpets. I can categorically state that for my carpets. No. And they've got to have some height. They've got to be able to get off the ground. You know, everybody to their own. It is completely, absolutely. Doesn't a reticulated python, I'm not saying to you, is going to need a 10-foot high enclosure. If you can give them one, give them one. But you're going to need the length for a reticulated python. Width? No, not so much. But they're a big, big snake, and they do need a big enclosure to go with it. Just going to say the same as a carpet and ball python. Ball pythons do not need as much room as my carpets. I agree. They don't. Not at all. But get them out. Let them get some exercise. Let them stretch out. Let them do as they want to when you get them out. That to me is more important than sometimes where they live, is the fact you get them out and spend time with them. That is just where they go to sleep and hang out. That is all that they are, is somewhere to go and sleep, digest, etc. For me, it's out here. Yeah, you can give them a huge space. So long, and that's from Jason Copendrayer. So long as they've got a small hide to go and hide in, they feel safe. Even my boy kept in a large, I think it's good to give them options. They may not need the room, but they don't mind the extra room so long as you have hides and cover. Exactly. You've got this big enclosure with nowhere for them to hide, no coverage, especially a ball python. You're going to have a stressed ball python. You give them lots of coverage, lots of plants hanging around, lots of logs to go behind. Hey Victoria, I'm good. How are you, sweetie? Lots of places to hide. You're going to have a happy ball python. So that is what you remember. Give them the option. You can only go back, can't you? If you put them in a bigger enclosure and you find they're not comfortable, then change it for them. It's really that simple. And you think, well, I bought this enclosure thinking that they would really like it. Then add things to that enclosure. Create more hidey spaces for them. As long as they feel safe. It's all about safe. Make adjustments. I'm getting into a 20 and he's definitely less than a foot. I'm giving him a height on the warm and the cool side, and I have fake plants in between. That's what you do. And he is on, Victoria has a Bredli, and he's on a large rat every 2 weeks. Should I keep it like that or smaller, more often feeds? Every 2 weeks on a large rat. No, you can keep going with every 2 weeks. I certainly wouldn't offer a large rat in any less time than that. That's another thing. We all do it differently in that way. I prefer smaller feeders more often. People prefer a bigger feeder less often. It's up to you. Your snake's going to be perfectly fine no matter which way you choose to do it. I mean, I give Jack a large rat and he goes 14 days. Jack would eat every 3rd day if I kept offering him a rat. Some snakes are just like that. Jack is healthy, he's a good weight, and he's a nice size. I don't want a big, huge snake to have a snake that isn't having a snake. Yeah, do it. Do it your way. If your snake is happy with that, keep doing it. I don't want anybody to change what works for them. I really don't. That's the end of the story, really. You know your snake. Personally, I don't. You're welcome, Victoria. I don't know your snakes. I know the species. I know what I know from the species I have. Kept together, they somehow realise that they're friends. Can snakes do something similar? I don't know whether it's about they recognise each other as friends. What they recognise each other as is not threats. They are comfortable around each other, especially your male and females. Female and female are quite fine together. Very rarely is there an issue with female and female snakes together. I think they don't mind being around other snakes at all. I'm pretty sure Jack would live with Lily every day of his life. I don't think Lily would live with Jack. But then I could have another snake, a female snake, that wants to spend all of her time with Jack. So I guess for me, some snakes aren't so liking of another snake. So does that mean they're friends and not friends? Tell me. Oh, I like him, but he's not really my friend. Whereas other female and males can't get enough of each other, whether it's breeding season or not. They're together, they're cuddled up together all the time, they spend all their time together. That tells me they're friends. Lily and Jack, no. Jack really wants Lily to be his friend, but she she goes, she takes off, leave me alone. So, and it's been breeding season. And of course Jack has been very interested in my Lily. But Lily, who is of age to breed, is certainly not interested in Jack. Yeah, it is poor Jack. I feel so sorry for him. And that's why I did a thumbnail with him bringing flowers to her. I could see Jack doing that. Please, Lily, will you love me? I bring you flowers, sweetheart. Didn't work though. She vacated very quickly and went into Jack's enclosure and has been there ever since. So, you know, read your snakes. I keep saying read your own snakes. Take from your snakes what you're learning from them. That's how I learn. Sure, I read books. What temperature? Because I can't get Jack to say what, verbally say. But do you know what? He told me that 31 was too warm. That even 30 is not particularly what he likes. 29 to 29.5 is Jack's temperature that he prefers in his enclosure on the warm side. So, yes, Jack told me he didn't like what the book said. So again, let's get to know your snakes, yourself. And then you can tell me what it is that your snake prefers. And it could be a jungle. Like Jessie's a jungle. And Jessie likes that. Your snake doesn't. Your snake likes something. Jessie hates it. Honestly, they're individuals. And that is what is important to remember. And not that they're a species, so you put them as a whole. It's not how it works, guys. Jessie is 2 years of age at the moment, and he's still being fed every week. He is always hungry too. If I see him starting to put on too much weight, I'll lengthen that out, and he's currently eating medium rats or subadults, I would call it. So yeah, weekly for him, and he's growing really nicely at the moment, and he is a very pretty snake. To a piece of decoration, oh yes, they have their favourite spots in their enclosures, and they have their favourite plants, and they will keep going there and hang out. I got a jungle and 2 to 3 years old, and I just wanted to get some idea. Yeah, well, yeah, Jessie's 2. You know, I'll do a video with Jessie and give lengths and weight and stuff for you, so you can get an idea of his size. But he's pretty nice size for the age that he is. He's coming up on lengths too. As well at the moment. I had him out yesterday with Lily. Lily's got some growing to do, I think, as a female, and Jessie's getting long, actually. So unless I've got the sex wrong, which is a possibility, could be a girl, but Jessie suits a girl or a boy. 4.5 to 5 foot. Right. Okay, and he's a male. I don't know if Jessie is probably the 4.5 foot. Absolutely, because I'm 5'2", and I don't think Jessie's quite my height. My height, his length yet, but he's getting pretty close. So guys, I'm going to shut it down and say goodbye to you all. And for people who watch the replay, I want to say thank you for watching it, for sitting through and watching it. But thank you to all of you who joined me today. It's always wonderful chatting to each and every one of you. I love it. This is what is so good about live streaming. So guys, you take care of yourself, your family, and your snakes, as I always say. I'm glad he's settling in, Munson Burner. That's good to hear. Bye day and night. You take care of yourself. Ciao, everybody.